Alright guys, so let's take a look up here. We're just going to re-review what we already read in the textbook yesterday. Okay, this is just chapter 18, lesson 1, all over again. I just recapped it real short. This is posted to Schoology. We're going to do a recap of chapter 18, the lesson that we read out of the textbook yesterday. So pretty much we're just going to keep really hammering these points home, review. We're actually going to do the book questions out of the chapter 18 book today. All right, so I really just want you guys to pay attention. This is the stuff we already read yesterday. All right, so our essential questions are: why do atoms form chemical bonds? So chapter 18, this is all about the bonds, right? We learned about the elements last chapter. Those are each individual one. The bonds are how they're going to form together, right? How does the arrangement of electrons affect bond formation? So that's just those electron circles and the sharing of the electrons. I really don't want you guys to worry about that right now. We're mainly just focusing on these chemical bonds and counting the elements. Finally, what is the role of valence electrons in chemical bonding? That just goes back to our electron circles from that last chapter. So, our stability in bonding. Atoms form bonds to become more stable. So we got all these elements. They all have random electrons in the outside, right? So some other elements out there, it's like finding your soulmate. Some other elements out there, they have another number of electrons, and they combine together to fill those valence shells. So stability is achieved when the outer energy level is full, that outer valence shell. Now the noble gases, they're stable because their outer energy levels are full. So that is our final column over here. You guys might remember from like 7th grade, like they said that they were happy or whatever. It's because each one of those, the circles from the last test, they had the perfect number of electrons in each circle for it to be full. All right, so compounds. This is that Statue of Liberty picture from the book yesterday. All right, a compound is a substance formed when atoms of 2 or more elements combine chemically. The properties of a compound are different from the elements that form it. So this is like the Statue of Liberty is green, even though it's made from copper, which is the color of a penny, right? So I even threw the picture up there from the textbook, you guys. Very horribly cropped picture, but it is on your textbook, page 552. It just shows you that the copper that the Statue of Liberty is made of is not the color copper because of oxidation. Exactly, oxidation. Good. See, we're killing it. All right, so formulas. Now this is not what we're thinking of like a math formula or a chemical formula. The chemical ones, this is just how we write our compounds. So H2O is a perfect example, right? Now, these numbers, we talked about this yesterday, so this is just review. These numbers down at the bottom here are subscripts, all right? That might be an answer to a question on that worksheet. Now, these subscripts down at the bottom, this is how we count how many of each element are needed to form the perfect amount of electrons to form that compound. Pretty much, you need a certain number of each element to make the compound stick together. So chemical bond formation, atoms bond by gaining, losing, or sharing electrons to fill their outer energy levels. There's 2 different types of bonds. Well, actually there's 3, but there's 2 we're going to talk about here. Ionic bonds form between metals and nonmetals. Do you guys remember that lab where I talked about like the cation and the anion? Remember that like computer thing we did where we were throwing the neutrons in and stuff? Yeah, so sometimes bonds will form between elements that have a plus charge or a minus charge. That's ionic. The covalent bonds are more like the normal, stronger bonds that we're going to see between non-metals. That's just stuff you got to memorize for now. I wouldn't worry too much about that. I threw a little reminder reminder of what electron dot diagrams are. Those are just the circles that we did on the last test that had the electrons that we counted on, okay? So ultimately what's happening here is the circles from the electrons come together when the two elements combine, and they kind of share these electrons, and that's how the elements stick together. I think that's